Bottom line, congratulations to LSU baseball. Congratulations to all of Tiger Nation. But we don't care anymore. Guess what? Baseball season in the past. Welcome to the world of college football. From here on out on SEC Unfiltered, we have nothing but college football chatter. So welcome on into the Overtime Drive. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. Thomas Castellanos said what today? He said what about Alabama today? What are we doing with that kind of conversation? How do you think that that's something that is worth talking about? By the way, we have the top 5 coaches that we are going to currently rank in the SEC from all 3 of the major sports, baseball, basketball, and football. Another preview profile with South Carolina versus Virginia Tech. We also got Tennessee versus Syracuse. We're going to break down the Vols schedule this year. Joey Aguilar, now QB1, fresh off of a college football playoff appearance. What's rolling in Rocky Top? A jam-packed show for you on a Monday night. So make sure you're locked on in. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the ring notification. That way you don't miss out on any episode of the Overtime Drive or any single thing that we do here on SEC Unfiltered. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials. Link in the description. Follow Dave at Dave Shumate SEC. Me, I'm Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. And as always, we are proudly fueled by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go visit FANDUEL.com/SECU today. Sign on up. Go get $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. You maybe want to play some future bets down the line on who is making the college football playoff or who is going to Omaha next season. You may just want to go ahead and play on a random Tuesday night, one of your favorite MLB matchups. Go do so at FANDUEL.com/SECU. Schusters, how the hell are you?
Bear. Well, I mean, it was kind of the wrap of the sports season this year last night, all in one night. College baseball that afternoon going 2 games, and you had the Game 7 in NBA, Oklahoma City and Indiana. So, I mean, wrapping up now, it's officially turned the page to, I think, true off-season college football. I mean, now we wait here till Labor Day weekend, which, I mean, will be here quicker than we know. I mean, Phil Still's magazine's out now. It kind of feels like it's that.
We're at that point of the year.
For me, it kind of gets a little football seasonist around like Memorial Day. Like really where it's just like, all right, like you can start to feel it's kind of that off season. It's kind of turning the page Memorial Day. Like teams aren't even locked in really into the next season yet. And it's like, all right, camps and stuff over. It's time to kind of lock into the team. So it is a good time. I mean, kind of people can kind of pump the brakes a little bit, but a lot of stuff to talk about. But I'm fired up. Starting with what Tommy Castellanos said. You're right. I signed at UCF the 1 year I was there, but no.
Let's not waste any time. For starters, congratulations to LSU once again, because for the 6th straight year, regardless of what you want to talk about with the conference, if it was underwhelming or they had too much representation, death taxes the SEC winning in Omaha to claim yet another national title. And credit to Jay Johnson, who has turned LSU into the same pathway of what Paul Mainieri did in his tenure. But he may have reached new heights. He may have reached even better heights at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Paul by 1 now. Paul won 9, and he's just won 2 of the last 3. So, I think Jay's younger, got more time. I think he may get another one.
But let's move over to football. Let's move over to week 1. Doak Campbell Stadium, Tallahassee, Florida. Alabama versus Florida State. We've already broken down this game before, so if you want to go check it out, go on over to YouTube. Go watch the Overtime Drive from on last week's show because we talked about this exact game.
Yeah, I think we went like 30 minutes on that game.
But Thomas Castellanos, starting quarterback, guaranteed. The next pet project for Gus Malzahn, met with Pete Nakos of On3, talked about the entire plan of why he left Boston College, why he wanted to go to Florida State, what he likes about Gus Malzahn and the play calling and how he feels comfortable in this system. But he also went a little bit further and called out Alabama. Like it or not, he said the following in an interview. People, I don't think they know, but if you go back and watch the first game that I played in, we always start fast. I dreamed of moments like this. I dreamed of playing against Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I don't see them stopping me. Dave, it's not bulletin board material. It's not bulletin board material. You just wrote a one-way ticket to pure hell on Saturday afternoon. That's what you did. That is what you did, Thomas Castellanos.
Yeah, I don't see the point in saying it. I see no gain. I mean, obviously, you're right. That quote's going to get the headlines. Let's be honest, Bears. I mean, you were talking about it because he said it. But if you go back and look at the whole article, I think there's bigger issues here. Maybe it is this off-season time, and Dave, myself, I'm looking way too into it. Dude, you go back and read this whole article he did with Pete Nakos with on 3, and there's a lot of eyes. Just like him talking about himself, just an eye. There's a lot of I wish I would have left when Jeff Hafley left. Let's just see. I'm talking about this could be it. He's like, I actually have a squad now. He's talking about how he didn't really have any help at Boston College. I didn't have nearly as much talent as I do here. I'm not even the fastest one on the team. Other guys are faster. I have more help here. And then he mentions the quote you mentioned, Bear. Like, I see no way they can stop me, man. I'm here to save jobs. It's like, dude, here he says too, Bear. Interesting quote here. I'm like, this is kind of a me first guy. And I kind of know the kid decently. Hell, he left his book bag on a recruiting visit for over 6 months in my office. But we need to get back to, quote, here's Thomas. We need to get back to the mentality of ACC championship to a good playoff run, Bear. A good one. To a national title. But for me, I have the skill set to be a Heisman contender, to be up in New York. It's almost like, again, I'm probably looking a little too much into it, but it's like, yeah, ACC championship, good playoff run, national title, yeah, hopefully. But me, I think I could be in New York for the Heisman. I'm like, wouldn't it be like, yeah, I mean, I think maybe I could contend for whatever awards are out there, but like, for me, the main goal is national title or bust, or an ACC title or bust. We got to win. Like, a lot of eye stuff, dude. Again, outside of the Alabama thing, which you're right, Bear, dumb. Why even bring that up? There's no benefit to you already. You already had the target on your back. It's game 1 for a team that should be hungry after Alabama, how they faltered at the end of the year. But why do that? You have to read the whole article, dude. I think it's, again, I could be reaching. I probably am a little bit. Just seems a little deeper than that. A lot of eye. Like, I saw something like, I'm not really playing here for Florida State. I'm here to save potential jobs. Think of these people's families and homes. It's like, dude, who the hell do you think you are?
Well, let's just put it at this. Bill O'Brien benched you last season, and your highlight moment was in a close call against Missouri where you still lost the game. That was you. That was the game for you, Thomas Castellanos. And again, maybe it was the offense. Maybe it was the style of play. Maybe it was not having a consistent wide receiver core or a bad offensive line. I don't know what it is. What I will tell you is that by the season's end, you were not the answer at a smaller school in the ACC. So now you're going to a school that needs to get better at quarterback play. They went 2-10 last year. You have Mike Norvell on the hot seat. You bring in 2 coordinators that were very, very solid at what they were doing, and they're supposed to be the answer because they're paid a lot of money to be coordinators down in Tallahassee than the head coach at UCF and the defense coordinator at Nebraska. So there's a lot of things that are going wrong right now. But for me, the biggest point that I have is I understand the confidence level, and especially for the starting quarterback. You need to have confidence when you play against Alabama because Alabama's defense is going to be one of the best in college football this year. You've said it. I've said it. Everyone that we know has talked about Alabama's defense and what they return and what they added in, how special they can be. But here's my problem. It's not a you thing. You can go ahead and be as prideful as you want. I look at Florida State's roster, and I have questions beyond belief. Florida State the last 3 years has been middle of the pack in recruiting in the ACC. They're in the bottom. They're outside the top 15 nationally in recruiting ranks. They are banking every single year on the transfer portal, and they're banking on the players that they're adding in and that they're targeting to leave their school to come down to our program at Doak Campbell Stadium are going to hit. And I have so many questions about Florida State. I think they're a good team in terms of they can get to 7-5.
I think they're going to be improved for sure.
They're going to be vastly improved from what they were. But to come out here and make a statement about how I don't think because of Nick Saban's not there anymore. Brother, you don't have the leg to stand on that Diego Pavia does. Diego Pavia was confident and cocky going into the game, but he was talking about that way with every single opponent. And then after he beat Alabama, he didn't care about the Heisman Trophy. His next word was, hey, we still have a shot to make it to the national championship. We still have a shot to go punch our ticket to the college football playoff. And so everything was focused in on team morale first. And yeah, did he have his moment? Absolutely. But it was team driven. This is a Vanderbilt team that we know we're turned. We know that we got this man. And you don't have that right now. You have so many questions when it comes to the offensive personnel. We don't know what you're going to look like in Gus Malzahn's offense. The wide receiver position, while addressed by adding in Squirrel White and landing Deuce Robinson from USC, we don't know how you two are going to speak together and be on the same page. So I'm just looking at this from the specifics and the overall stigma of, listen, this is a sign of confidence, which I understand. But you have teetered that line of, with how many times you said I and how many times you put yourself at the forefront of the conversation, you put a target on your back. So now you have to deliver. You have to lead Florida State to a win. Florida State can come out and play a really close call against Alabama, and we leave that game saying instead, oh, Florida State, maybe not up to Bama's level, but they can get a few upsets here or there. Now the only thing I'm thinking at this point is, oh, Thomas Castellanos opened up his mouth. They lost. They lost by double digits. I guess that he wasn't really as advertised. I guess that Nick Saban did come to save them.
Yeah, I had to go read. I just wanted to read the article, see what else they're talking about, and I noticed that. That's why I brought it up at the beginning. I was like, geez, dude, how many times did you talk about yourself and Boston College? I should have left. Like, I'm not here to play at Florida State, but no. I mean, I'm with it. I think they'll definitely be improved. The schedule's easier. Their defense will still be solid, but yeah, there's no point of doing that. And I do think theoretically it's a good fit for Coach Malzahn's office. It was his first quarterback signing at UCF, but we'll see. I mean, Tommy's just kind of a guy to me. He's just kind of a jag.
I completely get you wanting to rally the troops and that you being the quarterback, but this needs to be our team. They don't have Saban to protect us anymore, not me. Because what you did was that, and I've heard other people talk about this. You put yourself on a mantle and said, oh, well, the rest of Florida State don't come with me. I'm going to save jobs. Not the players that we brought in were brought in for a specific reason. The players that we decided were good enough to play for this program are here because of we know what's at hand. No, I know what's at hand. I know what I'm doing. I know that Bama can't.
Now, I will say, if they win, I think he will be a big reason why. If Florida State were to get the upset, I think he would have to have a big game, a lot of improvisation. I mean, I don't know. It's just unnecessary.
No, it's very unnecessary. But you know what? I'll tell you. Do you remember the scene in Remember the Titans where Coach Yost pulls out where the defense and tells him, I don't want to gain another yard. You blitz all night.
Yeah, he's
Kane Womack's having a very similar conversation.
Yeah, he's pulling Deontay Lawson first snap. If they gain a damn yard on that first drive, Cole.
Hill Green, you're in. Go win a Buckus Award.
You're in.
That secondary, hey, they have the dudes. They have so many different cornerbacks and safeties. Hey, Bray Hubbard, you missed the tackle. Okay, Keon Sapp, you're switching over to this side of the field. Hey, we got to fill the Husky position. We're cool with that. They ain't getting another yard. I want 5 turnovers. I want 12 sacks. I want them to have negative rushing yards, and I want them to end up having multiple interceptions in this game.
Fair, do you like Bama even more, minus 9.5 right now?
Yes, right now I do. Yes, right now, 100%.
No, 12.5. Let me see.
12.5, I think, is the line right now. 100%. And you know what? I hope I'm proven wrong, just so that way it's a close game, or at least a fun game. But my God, nope.
I think it's South Carolina, Virginia Tech. I was looking at 9.5. Yeah, 12.5. So Alabama, Florida State.
I am absolutely taking them by 2 touchdowns.
Bears low. He's putting the mortgage on it. Everybody here, he told Thompson's blood bank guarantee week 1. All 500 of you in here listening, folks. Blood bank guarantee. He would put one of his dogs on the line for this.
Probably. Go ahead. Throw it down. Here we go, Tommy. Go ahead and prove me right. And
sponsored by FanDuel.
And if you want to prove yourself right, just go on over to FanDuel.com/SECU. That way you can join it in the action. And let's say that you actually do believe that Alabama is going to lose to Florida State. Let's just say you believe that Alabama is not going to meet the expectations and hit the under on their win total. Simply go sign up at FanDuel.com/SECU. Lay down $5. And if that's your first bet, well, guess what? You win that bet. You're going to get $250 in bonus bets to play with nonstop. It's free. It's at your disposal. You can go sign up with FanDuel.com/SECU. Join in the action. What's not to love about making sure that the Alabama Crimson Tide absolutely coast their way to a college football playoff appearance, or if you're down in Tallahassee, or if you're down in the likes of any part of Florida and you don't want to see Alabama go on this epic run, then why not go ahead and bet against them? Whoever is the team that you hate, whoever is the team that you want to go up against, make sure that you go lay down that money line at FanDuel.com/SECU. And if you win your bet, you're going to get $250 in bonus bets. Sign it up at FanDuel.com/SECU. Disclaimer: must be 21 and present in select states or 18 plus in DC. First online real wager money only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under the agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Okay, Dave, let's go break down the top 5 coaches in the SEC of the big 3 sports. We'll start at 5. We'll work our way to number 1. I think this is going to be a little bit different because of you're well more in tune with baseball than I am. And I think that basketball, I at least understand who are the coaches that we got to be talking about. And I've gained a lot of respect for several of the names, but I'll let you go first. Who do you have at number 5?
All right, number 5. I'll be brief. I'm not going to go over all the resumes. I'll just be honest and give my reason. All right, number 5, I'm going to go with my guy, Nate Oates. Go Nate Oates. A little bit of combo bears. Mine went by. Again, there's no real formula. I think it's just an opinion, subjective thing why you have. I think it's a little bit more of like what has he accomplished already, which is a lot. And you factor in his age, then I think it's just a very high ceiling. I mean, he's sitting at just 50 years old right now. I think inevitably he will make the jump to the NBA. Maybe not. We both know being an NBA head coach is not that awesome, really. I mean, the players have way more say than you. So I think, Alabama is one of 3 teams, I think, that have been – it's Alabama, Houston, and Arkansas. 4 out of 5, 4 of the last 5 years have been to the Sweet 16 or further. It's Alabama, Arkansas, and Houston. I think are the only ones that can say that. He's won the SEC 4 different times if you include the tournament, or the SEC tournament and regular season. Again, people are going to call me crazy with my 5. Once I finish it, they're really going to think it's crazy. But I have my reasons. He's done it consistently now, a young age, high ceiling, produced numerous NBA draft picks. They have a system, and they're consistent at it. I'm going to go Nate Oates at 5 there, Bear.
I go Jay Johnson. And I think that you consider his resume of what he was doing at Arizona, 2 College World Series appearances, College World Series runner-up against Coastal in 2016. That says a lot. But then the way he was able to carry the tradition and even enhance the level of success down in Baton Rouge. He's won 2 national titles in 4 seasons. He's been to both regionals. He hasn't had anything less than a 40-win season. He's got a 71% win rate throughout his first 4 years there. On top of that, I talked to somebody recently about the way he responds. And he's married, but he doesn't have kids. So his entire life is built around the baseball team. Those are his quote-unquote children. So he is so hyper-fixated on getting them to reach their potential, whether that be anybody that signs up to go down to the box, anybody who has been self-recruited down to Baton Rouge. He wants them to reach their peak. And I think that the other thing that he's done is he has bought into the version of what NIL is supposed to be, how you're supposed to utilize it in your favor, and enhance LSU to new levels. I mean, it's not just Paul Skeens. They find him at Air Force. They say, come on down. You be a part of our system, win a national title. I mean, Kate Anderson is a homegrown talent, and he's enhanced him to be a top 3 pick in this year's draft. They went out and they brought in what's his name from California. Phenomenal performance that we saw this past week. You know, they went out. They go. What?
Who's on? Kate Anderson?
No, Sunday's pitcher. I'm blanking.
Ianson.
Yeah, I think he's from Santa Barbara. He goes out, he lands these talents, and they get better, and they're more developed, and they're quite honestly more prepared, I think, for the major leagues. Think about this for a second, Dave. We were talking about Paul Skeens and his fast track to the majors. Dylan Cruz is in the majors. I mean, Kate Anderson, if he goes to Los Angeles, is not going to pitch this year, but he sure as hell will pitch next year in the majors. So they're more adept. I think that says a lot about the trajectory, the way that you've such an enhancement. And he said it yesterday in the postgame show. If you're a pitcher, why would you not want to come down to the box? Why would you not want to be in Baton Rouge? Honestly, you have two guys who have proven, and they're going to be top 5 selections. We know what we're doing down here. And he's carried on the legacy, and he understands what the culture and the identity is of LSU sports. If anything, right now, he has the longest leash of any coach that is on campus.
Oh, yeah, by far. I mean, that fans going into a must-have year, and Brian Kelly's a 9-3 season away from going into a must-year win. Number 4 for me, go to the hardwood, fellas. We're going to stay on the hardwood. Bruce Pearl. I mean, for me, a lot of it's what Bruce has done at 2 different programs in the league. Obviously, just a program builder and sustains it at Tennessee. If he just doesn't lie to the NCAA, he never gets fired at Tennessee, and Tennessee's probably what Auburn is right now. Goes to Auburn, took a couple of years, but has turned Auburn into one of the more consistent programs in the entire sport. I mean, what he's done, what he has done to that program and elevated it is phenomenal. Me and you all were talking about Jabari Smith, a kid they had at Auburn that's with the Rockets now. So, I mean, to me, with Bruce Pearl getting that Final Four this past year, it puts him over the edge to me. Now if I'm picking long-term, I'd probably pick Nate Oates because he's younger. That's probably it. But I think when you factor in what Bruce is doing now and you factor in what he did at another program in this league, and I think a lot of those guys would I don't get the Rick Barnes hate, but I know a lot of Tennessee fans that would trade Bruce Pearl for Rick Barnes. They would give away their firstborn for that to happen. Like a lot of them, they love Bruce Pearl, but he got them to places they've never been before, the Elite Eight. So, I mean, and Rick Barnes got Tennessee to the Elite Eight, but the love for Bruce Pearl, I think Bruce Pearl's at 4. I think, like I mentioned, why he's above Nate Oates. Since Nate Oates has been in Alabama, Alabama's been probably a little better than Auburn, but I think that second Final Four is why. And I think he probably has a national title. I think if they win in 2019, if they don't foul Virginia there at the end, I think they beat Texas Tech.
4 for me is Nate Oates. Just the consistency of what he's been able to build Alabama as. I mean, you and I both remember Alabama before Nate Oates arrived there. It wasn't a basketball school. They had a couple basketball players. They had some guys that would eventually be all SEC talents, second team, third team, but it wasn't a basketball school. He gets a 69.2% winning rate at Buffalo. Back-to-back MAC conference champions. Back-to-back playoff tournament wins. They go to the round of 32. And then he goes to Alabama, where he could have left at any point and probably used that as like a stepping stone job. And instead, he's turned Alabama into a school where we are paying attention to what the Tide are doing on the hardwood. And that was at a period also where he was splitting reps with Nick Saban, because Saban, again, was still coaching up until last year. But yet you talk about Alabama, they made it to the Final Four. They were in the Sweet 16. They were in the Sweet 16 twice, including the 2021 season. So it's like just the version of what Alabama has been, the way he's been recruiting, the way that he has embraced what is supposed to be. An SEC is still a conference that we believe basketball should be reigning supreme. Like, yeah, the Big East is fine and dandy, and they have Dan Hurley and they have UConn, and we know what they are as a program, but we want to be this next, not blue blood. We want to be the next red blood. We want to be the next purple blood. I think that's where you've seen Nate Oates. He's embraced what is Alabama. There was rumors that he was going to get offered another job. I mean, the Kentucky job came open last year, and people thought, oh, well, he's got to be at least considerate. Didn't even blink. So it's one of those things where
he's the big man on campus right now.
He has been such a staple of what is Alabama sports that it's very hard for me to say that there is a reason not to put him in the top 5. You're going to finish in the top 10 every single year. You know that you're going to be a top 2 seed in your in the tournament. You know that you're going to be a threat to win the regular season and the tournament in the SEC, and you're going to have a shot of hoisting up and cutting down the nets.
All right, number 3, Bear. Why this guy is above Bruce and Nate? He's got a national title. He's younger. The upside, Tony Vitello, Tennessee baseball. Got to give it to him. A lot of the same reasons of Nate Oates, the youth, bringing the program back. I mean, Tennessee baseball is in a much worse shape, honestly, than Alabama basketball was when Nate Oates took over. But he's turned them into one of the standards of college baseball. It's them and LSU. Expect Tennessee to be back next year, but yeah, not to be too long winded on Tony B. I mean, he's totally changed them in all perspectives. From they are a name in college football. They have a brand. Yeah, and he won it all. Again, maybe he'd be a little further back if he didn't win it all last year, but I think winning that national title puts him at 3 for me.
I didn't have him in my top 5. I left him just on the outside. He was number 6. I think the fact that Jay has already surpassed Maneri with 2 titles does it. I think also just the fact that what is LSU? I know it as a baseball program. I've known it my entire life as a baseball program. And the fact that Jay Johnson has continuously brought that tradition up, that gives him the slight edge over Vitello, just slightly. 3 for me is Bruce Pearl. I mean, again, it's a continuation of success, not just at Tennessee, but also at Auburn. I agree with you. Probably should have a national title attached to his name. He does a great job of recruiting. The only person that I think right now that is even coming close to being able to build that same rapport is Nate Oates and maybe Todd Golden. And Todd Golden, he could be a one and done. Like Florida, we may never see them come back to this level. The way that they were built, the way that their offense worked, the way that they played exceptional defense, the depth of that team, they may be that one roster that we talk about 10 years down the line. Oh, yeah, Todd Golden led them to a national championship. I'm not ready to put Todd Golden on that list. What I can trust is the continuity, the consistency, the identity of Bruce Pearl-led teams. That's puts him at number 3.
My number 2, Bear, I'm going to have to agree hard with one of your statements. I'm going to go Jay Johnson, number 2. So I have him.
Really? So you went higher than me?
Yeah, I went 2 national titles. He's just done. I mean, they made a regional, took North Carolina down to the wire in another year. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job as a really good coach in Arizona. I think Scott Woodward gets a little bit more credit than he probably deserves a little bit because he got there in April of 2019. Tough for me to claim, or for him to claim that he was with that. Yeah, was it the AD? Sure. He's got a ring in his office, I'm sure. But
now he's got 2.
You didn't hire Ed Orgeron. You were trying to get him out of there as fast as possible to try to make a home run hire. And you've made a solid hire with Brian Kelly, but I think he's going to be judged on that. And obviously the Matt McMahon hire, but again, I don't think they really care. But Kim Mulkey was one, but again, I don't think you go overspend on a women's basketball coach. So I think hit baseball hire, he nailed it. He's won 2 national titles. Football hire to be determined, but I think Jay Johnson for me, what he's done at LSU, like you said, Barry, continuing on the standard, he's way better than Paul Maneri, I think, is right now. Like you mentioned, they're a pitching factory. Jay Johnson, I think, sitting at a solid number 2, and he's still a relatively young cat as well.
I think it's shocking that neither of us have Calipari in our top 5.
That's recent bias for me.
I mean, for me, number 2 is Steve Sarkisian. And I say that.
What?
Okay, let me explain. Let me explain. Steve Sarkisian has been able to turn Texas into
That's your Texas bias, Bear. Steve Sarkisian is the second best coach in the
SEC. Into a money machine.
In all Big 3 in baseball.
I stand on it. Texas for years would spend money like no one's business on the wrong things. Sark came in there.
Producer, get that out on the web.
The culture, the program, the overall thought. Well, okay, here's the thing. I'll tell you who was going to be my other pick, but we didn't include them in here. But the fact is that the way Texas is built right now in terms of the recruiting assets, back-to-back top 5 recruiting classes, number 1 recruiting class, how much money they have in the NIL collective to basically say, we're going to rebuild our roster with 5 stars, and then what we don't get, we're going to bring in and fixate all of our success into the transfer portal. The way that he is landing the top tier quarterbacks, the way that we're seeing the development of talent on the offensive line, which was a major caveat in the downfall for both Mac Brown, then for Charlie Strong, then for Tom Herman, the way that the defense has completely transformed into back to the version that we saw in 2005, the success rate, and I think the culture of the team is finally at a level to where you're not saying Texas is BACK because they haven't won a national title, but everything else about them screams, we are the fixture, the standard, the ideal status of what is supposed to be a well-run college football team. So that's where I come from with Steve Sarkisian.
I thought I was going to have the biggest shock.
That's where I come with Steve Sarkisian. That is where I'm at.
Have it. And
here's what I will say.
Is?
What?
not having, I think people would think not having Todd Golden in and having Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates above him. I think a lot of people would think that's kind of surprising after this past year. But I'm with you. Unless you have TG sitting here at 1 and you left Kirby at the top 5, which I highly doubt.
No.
But I'm saying me and you both don't have Todd Golden in our top 5.
I will say, who was the other option I was considering here? If we would have included the one other sport, it would have been Patty for softball at Oklahoma.
Well, Don Staley.
I say, and Don probably would have been in my top. Don probably would have been.
Don Staley would have to be in the top.
Don
5.
would probably be number 3. Don would probably be number 3.
But yeah, I see Sark because he doesn't have it. See, I'll say this: I think there's better coaches in football and baseball and basketball right now than there are in football. I mean, I don't think there's a clear number 2. I mean, again, I see an argument for Sark. I think that's fair for sure. You can make an argument for him being the second best coach in the SEC in football. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's why, dude. I mean, I only have one football coach in the top 5.
I say
my number one's Kirby.
Kirby.
I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, again, as we know, I mean, Mark Richt got fired after back-to-back 10-win season. So, like, Georgia was at a good level, but he just took them to that elite level where the few, the proud go. And obviously, he's picked 2 national titles. I mean, the only thing you can't say is, I mean, he's had success against Alabama. That's it. 1-6. He hasn't had success against Alabama. 1-6. But I mean, that's the worst thing that's happened against you when the GOAT. That's a term that gets thrown around way too much, I think. But Nick Saban honestly, truly is the definition of it. I mean, that's not a bad career there. You've taken your alma mater to go win 2 national titles. So, I mean, I think Kirby Smart's an easy. I mean, Bear, here's a question. Do you think if you polled 100 SEC fans who you really watch football, basketball, and baseball a bit, you think
Kirby
would be unanimous one? Unanimous
Kirby would be one. I think unanimous one. I think that the conversation goes to afterwards, what do you value more? Do you value the structure of a program? Do you value the championships, the win totals? All those things I think are going to be fixtures of where you come with this. And again, for me, my background's in football, like college football, top to bottom. I pay attention to basketball. I pay attention to baseball. I know the talent that I've seen at places like Alabama and what Bianco's done at Ole Miss and what Jay Johnson's currently doing and Vitello and then Dave
Van Horn.
Like, I mean, I get those things. But for me, what's always going to come back to it is I have a background in football. And when I look at what Texas was for most of the time that I was going through college and then right after college and breaking into this industry to what it is now, that deserves a ton of respect because of what is supposed to be the standard there and how.
Yeah, 2 football coaches.
I have 2 football coaches, but again, it would be weird if I didn't have 2 football coaches because I'm the football guy on the channel. If I had 3 baseball coaches and 1 football coach, it would be a little perplexing for anybody that knows me on this show. That's all. Again, it's not like I'm going to say that if you don't have 2 football coaches, you're wrong. But at the same time, look at other sports. I mean, that maybe speaks to the volume and the tremendous success of what you have in the SEC.
No, I think it's more of a compliment to how strong the coaches are in basketball and baseball than it is like a slight towards the football coaches. Like, I just think it's like that's how much the elite, like, I mean, the baseball league's been that way for 2 decades now. But I mean, it's really a compliment to how much the basketball conference has grown. And like, you look at who are the coaches in the league, you're like, dang, like, man, a lot of really good. I mean, like, we think about it. Me and you both just left off a guy who just won a national title 2 months ago. I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. Like, it's one of those things. Like, Todd Golden won his first NCAA tournament game just this year.
Yeah. Where would you have Todd Golden in this list right now?
Man, dude, top 10? See, the easy answer would be 6, but then like you feel like you're doing a little disrespect, like Mike Bianco a little bit. You're just like.
Well, see, I have a tell.
Mike Bianco is Ole Miss baseball. He started that. Didn't start it like he is what they. I mean, they were very.
No, he is. No, he's Ole Miss baseball.
Yeah. Archie Manning was the last guy to have success there where they were really good. But like, yeah, I know because Mike Bianco. I mean, he's won a national title, but they've had some bad years here recently too. But again, I'd probably give him the nod of longevity and recently winning one. And then, probably TG. But I'm with you, Bear. You said it. You kind of stole a line I was going to use. Like, it's like. I'm not calling him a one-hit wonder. That's not fair. They're going to be good next year. They got their entire front court back. But it is like you, like, what if they just go back to, like, struggling to make it to the second weekend? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if it is something like, it's just like something we like, man, here the next 5 years, Florida makes it to the second weekend in the NCAA tournament just once.
Well, okay, humor me. humor me. What if Jay Johnson didn't win a national championship this year and LSU was eliminated in 2 games in Omaha? We probably both would not have. I wouldn't have him in my top 5. I probably would have Dave.
I had Tony Vitello, the best baseball coach.
No, I would still probably have Tony. So it's like.
And then I'll be honest, I'll probably say this. I know Jay would have the national title still, but like, I mean, I still think
you have the conversation.
Dave Horn's underappreciated.
No, he is. But what I would say is you'd have that conversation of, was it a one-hit wonder with Dylan Cruz as your Golden Spikes player, and then Paul Skeens, who was the best pitcher that we've ever seen in baseball? Like, that would be that'd be the context that you go off of. Doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's something worth talking about. And that's kind of where I'm at with TG. Is if he does this again next year and they're in the Final Four, by all means, he's top 5.
Even the Sweet 16, Elite 8.
Yeah, top 5 coach. I'd have no problem with that. But I'd love to hear your comments. Who are your top 5 coaches in the SEC? Leave them in the comment section down below, or go ahead and message us on social media at Dave Shumate SEC and at Mr. Cole Thompson. Okay, South Carolina, Virginia Tech preview. Game is in Atlanta. It's a Sunday standalone. Dave, there's an opportunity. There's a very big opportunity for the North Sellers to come out swinging and prove to everybody, hey, I am QB1 in this conference. Because remember, it's a Sunday game. So what does that mean? The Saturday performances of Arch Manning, Ty Simpson, Aaron Garrett Nussmeier are going to be laid out. So you already kind of have like a building block of, hey, this is what the standard is for some of these guys in the SEC. What are you going to do against this Hokies defense that's headlined by Brent Pry?
Yeah, you're right, man. This is a very interesting game. You know what this game kind of gives me vibes of there, if I'm being honest. And that is the only game on Sunday, huh?
No, it's
there's another. Is it Miami Notre Dame?
Notre Dame Miami is the night game.
That's what I thought. I thought there was another one. So you said standalone, but you mean that time slot. But no, Barry, you know what this game kind of means to me? I think the line right now is like 9.5, minus 9.5 Carolina. I think at FanDuel it's 9.
Yeah, 9.5.
This feels like a very ugly, drawn-out game. Both teams have their struggles to move the football, I think, at times, because South Carolina is breaking in a new OC. I think that, like I mentioned, the run game. Now, do I think Virginia Tech's going to win this game? No, I do not think so. But 9.5 right now would worry me a little bit. I can see this game being much closer, and people want to give it credit for. South Carolina, again, breaking in a decent amount of new starters, about 8 starters on the defensive side of the football. I'll be interested to see how Clayton White adjusts to that. I mean, Kyron Jones, he's got an opportunity. They didn't have a lot of great receivers last year. I don't know. Virginia Tech's probably about the same they were last year, but I don't know. I think South Carolina's the better football team. I have a feeling this is going to be a Sunday afternoon game. We are all fired up. College football is back on, but it is an ugly football game that I do think South Carolina will win. I do give it the edge right now.
I'm not really worried about South Carolina having to come out and kick ass or dominate for us to start buying a lot of stock into. What I will say is one of the big storylines that I'm paying attention to is the wide receiver room. Because of the thing was, South Carolina did not go out in the portal and add anybody. They said, we really like Nick Harbor. We really like Mazeo Bennett. We really like our 4 up-and-coming freshmen that we think can have big roles. We have Brown back. We have Jacob. We have some young players. We have Michael Smith at tight end. We're going to go out in Jordan Dingle. That's what we're going to have. So I want to see what this wide receiver room looks like. You get Nick Harbor, who didn't run track this year. He was so hyper fixated on college football and being a superstar wide receiver. Does he show that against Virginia Tech secondary? Does he prove
new DC too, man? We got 2 new DC. We got 2 coordinator changes here at Virginia Tech. Tech to me is a total unknown.
But Virginia Tech?
This year to me, dude.
Yeah.
They have a lot of guys they're replacing. You know what they got at quarterback? They have 2 new coordinators on both sides of the football. A lot of NFL background I'm looking at right now from Steve Seifs. I don't know. It's interesting. It's just an interesting first game. A lot of new coordinators. Well, you got what, Bear? 3 out of the 4 coordinators in this game?
3 out of the 4 coordinators will be brand new, being brought in. They have Clayton.
But both starting quarterbacks are back.
Yeah. And how do you feel about Kyron Jones? That's another big thing because of I look at Kyron Jones last year. I thought he was one of the more slept-on players in college football. I really liked how he closed out 2024.
You like him in this matchup, Bear?
No, because if I don't like anything about Virginia Tech. Last season, I said Virginia Tech was going to the college football playoff and surprising everybody by winning 11 games, and they ended up shitting the bed multiple times. And like it's not just week 1 against Vanderbilt. It was any single time that you needed Virginia Tech to kind of show that they were turning the corner underneath Brent Pry, they couldn't sustain the success.
What they lose, Bear? The Duke's Mayo Bowl in the year.
Yeah, against Minnesota.
Yeah,
against Minnesota. So again, they couldn't even do that with PJ Fletcher, and PJ Fletcher also sat out that game. And like Virginia Tech didn't have a lot of sit outs. They were, and remember, they were the most returning production in college football in 2024, at 97%, and they went 6-7. Like, I'm sorry, it's really hard to buy into that if you're Brent Pry after everything that you had turning your way in a year that, again, the ACC was wide open. So I don't really trust Kyron Jones. I don't really trust a lot with Virginia Tech. What I will say is that because of there's so much unknown with Virginia Tech, kind of unload the kitchen sink. Think about this for a second, Dave. They also open up the season with 2 SEC games because they go back home to Lane Stadium the following Saturday and they play Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So at this point,
SEC East grind, baby.
At this point, just unload everything. Just throw out whatever you want, and hopefully it sticks. Because if you're Brent Pry, you have nothing to lose. If you just say, "Oh, well, we weren't good enough for the SEC," but then we go 8-4 in conference play, that means that you only lost 2 conference games. And you look at their schedule, who you know they would be against, or teams that we're talking about maybe going to the college football playoff. Let it fly. Try some things that you haven't tried out before. Because also keep in mind, for South Carolina's perspective, they're going to be breaking in a bunch of new starters, especially on the defensive side. Now, there's some guys that you start buying a lot of stock into, like a Brandon Cisse, the transfer from NC State, Gabriel Brallo-Dindy, you and I have talked about before on how we're high on him. Justin Okoronkwo comes on in from Alabama. Sean Murphy comes on in from Florida State. So it's like there's a lot to like about the pieces there, but Clayton White is going to have to see it actually unfold on a football field, and that game is not going to be in Columbia. That game is in Atlanta, which is another added element to it.
No, I agree, man. That's why I'm kind of – this is just a weird game to me. I am betting this is going to be an ugly football just because there's so – and it's like you said, I wouldn't take a lot from this. Again, either way, hell, I took more off. Remember last year, I was wrong on my Kentucky pick off their Old Dominion first struggling. I mean, we've seen South Carolina come out and it not matter after that. So I think just getting the win, and I feel confident they'll get the win because I'm like you, Bear. I don't trust Virginia Tech as far as I can throw them. You add in 2 new coordinator changes in a must-have year for Brent Pry. That's not a recipe for any good soup. It's not. It's very watered-down soup right there. I mean, I can't think of many success stories like that. You're breaking in 2 new coordinators in a must-have year. It's tough to do. I like Carolina getting the win. I just think it's going to be very kind of ugly and just, hey, man, let's just try to get that W.
What would a win for South Carolina mean? Anything? Are you putting
I think South Carolina's got to start. I mean, I think the first, 5 games for South Carolina are very manageable, and they should at worst be 4-1. But I think a 5-0 being a real possibility for them. And again,
5-0 should be a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vanderbilt. You go at Missouri and you host Kentucky before a bye week, and then you're going to Baton Rouge for a big one. So easily could be 5-0 walking into Tiger Stadium, probably at night on October 11th if you're 5-0. 4-1, anything worse than 4-1, Bear, that would be a bad start. 3-2 would be a bad start, especially when you factor in these all very winnable. I mean, Bear, let's call a spade a spade. As long as they keep winning, they'll be favored in all 5 of those games. I mean, if South Carolina keeps winning week to week, the first game they'll be an underdog in is when they go to
LSU. It's 100% LSU.
Yeah.
Like if they win. The other thing is that, how do you feel about your roster? Here's going to be a big selling point for me. With the win in this game, depending on how Vanderbilt looks the following week when they face off against Virginia Tech, that's going to help you with your line. That's going to help you with your trajectory. That's going to help you with how you feel. So it's one of those things where I'm looking at it in the perspective of the Missouri game is the only one where I feel like if you were to lose it, you lose it because of, number 1, it's going to be in Como. Number 2, we just see Ahmad Hardy and Bo Pabula automatically click with this Kirby Moore offense and the philosophy that he wants. And your defense is still kind of getting broken into. But I don't see many scenarios of where you're going to go. Like, I don't. I think that Missouri game is the only one where I'd even kind of come close to considering a loss. For Virginia Tech, a win for you, Number one is bragging rights over the SEC. But it also maybe shows that Brett Pry has more left in the tank and that he made all the right adjustments, all of the right decisions in the offseason to go start fresh with 2 new coordinators, hit the reset button, put himself in a position to where he can be successful.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest here, looking at both teams' schedules here, Missouri and South Carolina, I know this is a Virginia Tech, South Carolina preview. But I just want to say, especially South Carolina were to get this win against Virginia Tech, kind of going back to what you asked me, what would this mean for them? I mean, Missouri opens up with Central Arkansas, granted, Kansas, but it's at home. I think it's a game. If Missouri's taking that next step continually with Eli Drinkwitz, they win this year. So
They could win that
building year for Kansas. You get Louisiana, Lafayette, then you host South Carolina. That's a big springboard game, South Carolina, Missouri this year, because how early in the season it is this year. I feel like it's usually later in the year. This is a springboard game because if both teams come in undefeated, man, I mean, you got a real shot. I mean, you feel real good about getting 8 wins at that point. It's a springboard, potentially 9. I mean, with both teams.
You feel really good if you – I think if you're Missouri, if you were to win that game against South Carolina and you were to be undefeated, you feel really good that 9-3 is on the radar. I think if you're South Carolina, you feel really good that 8 is on the radar and probably 9, and that if you probably are able to coast it. And let's say they have a win differential by plus 14. Like they're averaging 10-plus points a game. If you feel that way, you may lose to LSU because if it's in Death Valley, but you could easily go beat up on Oklahoma still. You could maybe beat up on Ole Miss. You could still hold your own against Alabama. Like there's a lot of things if you're able to kind of set the tone in those couple games early on in the season. You're saying though South Carolina week 1 down in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Carolina. Barry, you think Pry makes it through the year, or not through the year? You think he survives this year?
No, not right now. Not as of this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now. They'll lose 12 returning starters now, and they have 5 net close losses. It's like you said, it's like inevitably they'll probably win one of those 5 games. But when you throw in, like I keep going back to the lack of continuity, and we know how important that is for a quarterback like Kyron Jones. Like you got 2 coordinator spots in a must-have year for a head coach. I don't really like that, man.
I truly think that the Florida State game before they face off against Miami late in the year, depending on the trajectory of what we see for both Florida State and Virginia Tech, the loser of that game is fired the next day. I could see that being whoever loses this game is not keeping their job the rest of the year.
I mean, he's got to get one of South Carolina, Vandy.
That's what I'm saying. But what if they don't? Like, that's what I'm thinking.
That's
if they
tough.
Don't get,
you got Old Dominion, Wofford, and like you said, NC State. God, Dave Dorn and them are so high and low. I mean, it's a potential win.
That's what I'm saying. So there's a shot where you start off the year 2-3.
Man, you haven't got there. Louisville, Florida State, Miami.
But then you face off against Wake Forest. If you were to lose that game too by some miracle with a first-year staff, I mean, you may not even survive that. But that's a conversation for another day, and we're not an ACC channel. We're an SEC channel. But speaking of SEC versus ACC, another game that we got to talk about. Tennessee, Syracuse. That game is the Saturday game in this showdown down in Atlanta. So, Fran Brown, in my opinion, the next coach I want to see in the SEC, just going to call it as is. If anything were to happen with Billy Napier, that would be the first phone call I would make. I know he wouldn't take the job, but still, Fran Brown is awesome. 10 wins last season, but he's breaking in a new quarterback. Here is the biggest storyline that I have. Does everything change now with Steve Angeli? And let me finish real fast. They wanted to have a quarterback named the starter after spring practice to go into the year. So they named Ricky Collins the starter. Do you think that Steve Angeli is going to play in this game against Tennessee?
I mean, I think so, dude. I mean, yeah, that's what my concern a little bit. I think they're going to miss Kyle McCord a lot more than people think. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Steve Angeli. I'd be actually a little surprised if it wasn't. I mean, Cole, do you think Syracuse is going to match what they did last year? Or you think they drop a little bit?
No, they're dropping just because of schedule. I mean, have you seen their schedule this year?
They got one of the harder ACC schedules, yeah.
It is like it's not even the fact that they lose Kyle McCord, because if they would have kept Kyle McCord,
they had a lot of close wins too. I mean, that seems like. Do you ever what team do you remember getting that kind of not luck, but winning all their close games like 2 years in a row outside of like the Alabama Georgias of the world? I'm just saying like the mid-tier teams, which let's call a spade. Sorry to our Syracuse audience. That's what they kind of are, a mid-tier, year-to-year team in the ACC. You hardly don't get that coin flip those close wins.
They also lost a lot. I mean, like, yeah, we can talk about losing Kyle McCord because that stinks. But you also lost LaQuinn Allen. You also lost Trevor Pena. You also lost Gadsden. You also lost Jackson Meeks, who was your leading receiver. You lost a lot offensively, and you do land Jonte Cook from the transfer portal. I'm not putting anything into him. I'm not putting any stock in favor for him or against him just because of the pathway of what happened at Washington. You are bringing in a new quarterback, whether it be Ricky Collins or Steve Angeli. You do have some good running backs that I like, but it's going to be brand new and a lot of new offensive linemen. So it's like Fran Brown has his work cut out for him. And the one thing I will say is, regardless of how I feel about Joey Aguilar and this wide receiver core for Tennessee, I still really like two elements. I still like the running back room with Star Thomas, with Peyton Lewis, with Deshaun Bishop, and I still like the secondary for Tennessee to be able to take advantage of a quarterback that's just getting implemented and kind of working his way in a neutral side field.
Yeah, no, I mean, this game's an interesting one to me as well. I mean, like you mentioned in Atlanta, a lot. It's kind of funny. We got Steve Angeli, who was rumored to be a potential candidate Tennessee was going to go get, and now we get to see both him. We get to see both of them go after it. So that'll be fun at the quarterback battle there. I mean, I don't know. Bear, I think you're a little higher on Tennessee than I am going into the year a little bit. Is it more because of schedule? Like, I mean, I don't just really – it's not really a Joey Aguilar thing. I just don't think he's going to get enough help overall in the overall from a whole season standpoint. But I think we will learn a lot in this game in Atlanta. I think we'll learn a ton because, again, I have question marks all along that offense. I agree with you, though. I don't really have a ton of question marks for the running back room. I think Dylan Sampson, who, again, overachieved way more than I thought he'd be this past year. Again, I thought they were kind of ran him into the ground a little bit, but he was the offense. But I do like the room, like you mentioned. But yeah, I'm really interested to see Joey Aguilar in this wide receiver room. Again, I trust the defense. I think Tim Banks will have them right again. Will they be as good as last year? No, but I think Josh Jones is another kid who could kind of step up and kind of take off. I trust what Rodney Garner does with his guys. He'll have them ready to go every Saturday. I think they have one of the best DBs in the conference. I think the defense will be solid again. I don't think it'll be as good. I'm really worried about that offense. I think they got to play
week one. I meant to ask you that. Is McCoy going to play week one?
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard either. Like that's a big selling point for me too. Because if he plays, I mean, if whoever is going to be the target that Syracuse believes is their number one receiver, that's going to be.
Who's saying is their number one? Do you know receiver?
Not right now off the top of my head. I know the transfer that they brought in. I'm blanking on who it's from. I know they have high hopes for him, but it's not Jonte Cook, and they thought it was going to be Trevor Pena. And then he leaves in the spring portal and he goes over to Penn State. Now he's going to hopefully be the wide receiver 2 for them, wide receiver 3 for them.
Yeah, I got Jonte Cook, Justice Ross Simmons, and Daryl Gill.
I think Ross is the guy who I'm thinking of, but still.
Justice Ross Simmons.
Yeah. From a Tennessee perspective, this will be a really good game to figure out who's going to be your wide receiver 1. Like, Mike Matthews is here. You have Braylon Staley. You have Chris Brazzell. You're going to see Travis Smith for the first time against real competition. You're going to have Ethan Davis as your tight end. You have some young tight ends in the locker room as well. I don't think Miles Kitselman's going to play in this game, but if you do, Miles Kitselman can be your security blanket. So this will be a really interesting matchup for Joey Aguilar, who we know is going to be, I think, more of the prototypical, not gunslinger, but a lot more passes than we're going to give credit for from what Nico Iamaleava was supposed to be. He's going to be able to target whoever he wants. We're going to figure out pretty quickly, is there one of these wide receivers that he has built a great rapport with early on in this matchup that is going to be the face for Tennessee this year?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a massive matchup that I'm looking forward here too. But I'm with you. I think Syracuse is going to drop some due to what the personnel they lost, and to your point, Bear, the schedule. But I do like them. You're right. I like Fran Brown. I like Elijah Robinson, the defensive coordinator at Syracuse. I worked with him at Texas A&M. Phenomenal coach. Yeah, I think they have a really good staff. Overachieved last year. I just think in win total, they inevitably drop down some, which should not be judged. It should be, if they go to another bowl game, another solid step in the right direction for Fran Brown in his second year.
How do you feel about the overall outlook for Tennessee with the win in this game. Anything else?
Any other angle? I mean, dude, I'm ready for the Tennessee offense to take that next step, man. I know I keep going back to that. I trust what Tim Banks, Rodney Gardner said. Like I said earlier, that's really it. But I mean, Bear, what are we talking about? Here's a random question for you. What are we talking about if Syracuse were to win this game?
This is definitely a rebuilding year for Tennessee. They're not going to the college football playoff. They get to 8-4, but you maybe figure out what's going to be your quarterback situation after this season. Merklinger, McIntyre. Do you feel like that at some point you give them the opportunity to start just to see, do you have to go into the portal? How do you feel about maybe with recruiting? Do you have to change up your offense a little bit? Like, that's more so the way I feel than not about Syracuse. Syracuse wins this game. They still have one of, if not the toughest schedule in the ACC, because they got to play at Clemson, at SMU, at Georgia Tech, at Miami, at Notre Dame. That's still all ahead for them. So, like, 6-6 this year for Syracuse with how much they're replacing is a really solid season, and it's a good coaching job by Fran Brown. If they were to go 7-5, I think that's kind of even better because you would probably beat a team that you weren't supposed to beat.
Yeah, no, I agree. 6-6 or above. You're right. 7-5.
That's a great year for Fran after what he did.
Great second year.
Are you picking Tennessee to win this game right now?
I was going to ask you, according to our buddies over at FanDuel, current line, Tennessee minus 12.5. What do you think, Bear? Just line-wise, you taking Tennessee or Syracuse?
I'm taking Syracuse right now.
A lot of points. Yeah, I agree.
Now, line-wise, I'm taking Syracuse. I'm still taking Tennessee to win. But I can see this being more so like a 9-point win.
Straight up, you're taking the Vols line.
Yeah, no.
You would take the points if it was Syracuse.
Right now, I would.
I agree with you. I think Tennessee's going to win this game. If you told me there were two ugly games in college football, they may both take place in Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, Georgia on Labor Day weekend. It may be on Saturday with Tennessee, Syracuse, and it may be on Sunday, like I mentioned, with South Carolina, Virginia Tech. And I could see both these games because there's so many question marks. Factor in, Joey Aguilar coming in and having no spring in this offense. Syracuse breaking in a lot of new starters. We mentioned the Virginia Tech coordinators. South Carolina breaking in a new coordinator, lost on defense. This could be some ugly football, but again, hell, I'll just be fired up. It'll be football, especially SEC football versus ACC football. But anyway,
I will push back, and maybe it's because I just hate what Virginia Tech did to me last year and how stupid I felt picking them. I'll push back and say that South Carolina wins and covers more than I would push back to say Syracuse is able to even.
You're more confident South Carolina covers against Virginia Tech than you are Tennessee does against.
Yes, as of right now.
I agree with that.
Because of also, here's the thing. Whether or not I have questions with the wide receiver room, the new offensive line, the run game specifically, a brand new offensive coordinator with a Shula calling the shots, I still can trust Lenore Sellers. Like, if anything else, the athleticism of Lenore Sellers is going to carry this team to at least, I think, a double-digit victory. Where Tennessee, your quarterback is breaking into a brand new system. He wasn't here for spring practice. He hasn't built a rapport with any of these wide receivers. You don't know if your star cornerback is going to be playing in this matchup. You are replacing some talent on the defensive line. You don't have as much depth as you had last season. Rodney Gardner's going to do his damnedest, but you're not going to have the same amount of talent. You are replacing a brand new running back. A lot of things for Tennessee. You're still going to win this game, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it that exact day.
Yeah, no, I think Tennessee wins the football game, but I think it's going to be a little ugly again
for Tennessee.
Yeah, I think just offensively it will be. Let's see what was the over under that 55.5 right now. Doesn't that seem?
Would you take the over?
Over under is 55.5.
Would you take the over in that game?
Dude, I could see two defensive scores in this game with two new quarterbacks, and I think both defenses could be pretty. I think Tennessee's going to be good on defense again, and I think Elijah Robinson will have them prepared first game with a brand new quarterback.
Is it sad that I think this would be the game that would probably be like 17-10 final score?
That's what I'm saying. I'm leaning under a little bit.
I'm leaning way under for the 55 points.
Dude, but again, that's the thing you've got to factor in. What are my guy for this same school, Syracuse, Kyle McCord threw 5 picks against Pitt last year?
Yeah, no. But also, was it the same? I mean, again, Elijah Robinson, great defensive coordinator and a great guy that will scheme up against you. But, wait, no, Colin Core did throw 5 picks in this offense with Jeff
It's
Nixon.
a Thursday night game last year.
Yeah, it was a Thursday. No, it was Thursday night game. And Pitt barely won.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part.
Remember that.
They had 2 pick sixes in that game, too.
Yeah, I like Tennessee this one, though. Now, if you told me Syracuse had some guys back and some continuity back, I'd kind of like them here. But I'm with you, Bear. Give me the orange plus 12.5. Give me the Vols. As we speak right now on June 23rd, give me the Vols.
Vols straight up.
24-13.
I'd probably go 24-10. No, I'd probably go 24. I'd probably go 24. I didn't even go that much. I maybe would just go 20-10. I don't trust. I don't trust
Syracuse's offense to score enough points. I mean, unless Joey Aguilar, who's been known to throw to be turnover.
Okay, let me ask you. Could you see this?
Syracuse short fields, or they're scoring off of it?
I'll say, could you see this game ending up being like a 20-10 victory, but Joey Aguilar throwing for like 425 yards?
And I bring up special teams. A lot of people don't talk about that on their shows, but I bring up special teams where Tennessee hasn't been bad enough under hype on special teams to lose them games. I wouldn't expect them to lose the game just on special teams alone either.
I wouldn't either. All right, speaking of Tennessee, let's end the show by
if you're a Vols fan, this is your show.
This is your show. All right, so start off on August 30th against Syracuse. Then you welcome in East Tennessee. Then you get to stay home the next week and welcome in Georgia. Then you get UAB. Then you get to travel down to Mississippi State. You get a bye. Then you get to welcome in Arkansas. Remember what happened the last time you faced off against Arkansas. I'm sure that everybody in Volunteer Country is going to be waking up for that one. October 18th is the third Saturday in October. The game is going to be at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Then you close out the month of October by going to Kentucky. Open up November at home against Oklahoma. You get to play who is that?
Where I'm looking. Oklahoma, that is Mississippi State.
So do they play Oklahoma State on September 27th?
Where are you looking? Oh, so, man, they must have messed it. That's off their own website.
That's what I was saying. That's not right.
No, who is that? It's very light. Hold on. That's hilarious. Let's see. All right, here's Oklahoma. Hold on.
It's New Mexico State.
New Mexico State. Yeah.
God, that's so bad.
I thought you were looking at Mississippi. Yeah, Mississippi State, man. You looked up September.
Then you go down to the Swamp, which has been a place that you've struggled for decades with, and then you close out the year with Vanderbilt. So I'll start off easy. What's the most winnable conference game?
It's a winnable conference game to me. I'm gonna go Mississippi State still. I'm gonna go Mississippi State at Mississippi State.
If there was an upset for Mississippi State, that would be the one. I go Arkansas.
I could see that at the same time. You're right. Arkansas is a good pick too. I don't mind.
I go Arkansas. You're at home.
They own Kentucky. It's another fair pick. I mean, if you told me any other game outside of those three,
it'd be challenging, but I'd probably then go Vanderbilt because at least Vanderbilt's in your backyard.
No, I don't think they'll lose. Yeah.
But like that would be it. But also it's just like Arkansas, you lose last year. Taylor Green wasn't even great in that game until he got hurt.
No, I'm changing my pick, man. I'm going Kentucky.
You are? I'm on Arkansas.
Kentucky's gonna be bad this year.
I'm going Arkansas. Just something about you
Kentucky.
You playing at home carries a lot of weight. The most exciting game for you.
Most exciting game for me, it's got to be in Georgia, that third game of the season at Neyland. They're like, I mean, I thought with Nico going in, I was like, this is their opportunity because I think Georgia has a very high-end upside team, personnel-wise, as they normally do. But I do think the young guys, the freshmen and sophomores in this roster, are really good on Georgia's roster this year. But I do think it's the lowest floor they'll have because of the inexperience there. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of guys on the edges. First-year starter. Obviously, in Gunnar Stockton, his first road start, I think this is as gettable as Tennessee could get Georgia coming in their own building. It's going to be rocking. I feel less confident now, though. It's Joey Aguilar, and it's not really a Joey Aguilar thing. You just didn't get a lot of spring, and Kirby Smart, Glenn Shumate cooking up their potion, man. Those third down blitzes, even with some inexperienced guys, man. Even with some experienced guys, this will be the game they've been game planning for all off season because again, it's their first real test. It's Georgia's first real test. Whereas Tennessee, again, I think Syracuse is going to be a little down, but for their own standard. Again, nothing against Fran Brown and them, but I do think they're going to be a little more battle tested coming in than Georgia will be. I think this is as gettable as Georgia could be heading into an early season matchup on the road in their first road game. That game, I think, sets the tone to this 25 season for Josh Heupel.
I go Oklahoma, and the reason why is because if you feel as confident as you do about the offense taking that next jump forward for Josh Heupel, this may be one of the most explosive games in the SEC this year. Like, what if Joey Aguilar is as advertised, and he just comes on in and fits Heupel's pro style better than anybody else, and Mike Matthews lives up to expectations, and your defense still is solid, and you still run the football really well? Then you welcome in John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle and that brand of offense with Jaden Ott if he's fully healthy. This may be one of those like crazy matchups like we saw last season with South Carolina and Missouri, where fourth quarter rolls around and you have 4 different lead changes and each one of them are striking at the right time, and you're getting quick up-tempo motion where the offenses are staying aggressive. Like, I could see that being one of those games. And then also, Heupel wants to win against Oklahoma, whether it be in Norman or there, because of just the way things soured for him. So I still feel like you're waking up for that game in Neyland Stadium. It could be an 11 a.m. kick. It could be an 8:30 kick. Regardless, you're waking up because of you just want to beat Oklahoma.
All right, what's the next one, Bear?
3 must-win games in conference.
Must win for me. And again, some of this is kind of the year he's going in, year 5. It's kind of ready to go be that. Like we talked about how Mark Richt had Georgia back-to-back 10-win seasons when he got fired. They were at that good level. It's taking that next step and getting to that mountaintop. They're not quite there yet. It's going to take either him getting a big road win, which again, I know people give him credit against LSU and Baton Rouge in 2022, which was a good one, but it's kind of 11 a.m. snoozy. I don't know. Like a big road win where it's magnified. LSU didn't come in with a lot of momentum in that game. They'd already taken a loss to Florida State. I'm talking about going on the road and winning in Athens or Tuscaloosa. They get a chance this year. I think at Alabama is a massive game for them. I think at Florida, and I think Georgia that third week, I think they're all tone setters. They're not necessarily all 3 must wins. That's not fair. That's not all must win. They need to get one, though. Again, you get Georgia early. I think it's the lowest ceiling, lowest floor Georgia will have had in a while, especially at the time of year they get them. Week 3 at Alabama. It's time to get that big road win, Heupel. To take it to that next level, you got to go win at Athens or in Tuscaloosa. You play at one of those places every year. You haven't won there yet. And then at Florida, hadn't won there yet either. Like, as you mentioned, Bear, it's time to get that road monkey off your back. They got to get one of Florida and Alabama. I think they need to get this Georgia win here. Some people may have some sympathy for them after the whole quarterback controversy, but I think those 3 are the ones that stand out. Because me and you talked about it, Bear. Very manageable schedule here for the Vols once again.
Arkansas, you got to win. And the reason why is because of last year. If you don't lose that game, we're talking about Tennessee making it to Atlanta for the first time underneath Josh Heupel. They're 11-1 to close out the season. That was an embarrassing performance all across the board, from the play calling, from the offensive execution. They couldn't run the football in that game with Dylan Sampson. So it's like it showed at that point the overall trajectory and kind of ceiling of where Tennessee was. So I would see belt to ass in that game, especially with it being in your own backyard. I go Vanderbilt. The reason why is because you heard Diego Pavia. He says we run the state of Tennessee now. Like, this is Vanderbilt. Like, it's Vanderbilt. Like, you can't ever allow. It's like when I said Alabama can't lose to Vanderbilt. I don't care how good of a quarterback Diego Pavia is. I don't care how much talent I can see of what Clark Lee plays defensively. But I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. It's Alabama. It's Vanderbilt. You should never lose to Vanderbilt, regardless of a turnover of coach or a turnover of roster. It's the same thing. If you truly say that you are the state college of Tennessee, you got to own Tennessee, and you got to beat Vanderbilt. And the fact that there is now that extra fuel of your quarterback from the school that for the last decade was basically a walking win is saying we run the state now, that would piss me off. And then I got to go with Florida. I'm sorry. I love the fact that, I understand beating Alabama on the road would be something. I understand beating Georgia, that would be something. But Florida, you haven't won in decades in the swamp. And I'm sorry, but when I look at Florida, Florida may feel like a team that could go on an epic run toward the college football playoff. They could, if things go their way. They also could finish 6-6 with the way their schedule is. But at some point, you have got to prove that this is not a problem anymore. And that's been the case for Tennessee since what? 2000? What was it? 2009? I mean, 2005?
What?
When was the last time they won in the Swamp?
I want to say it's similar to that last time they won in Bryant-Denny.
It's 2005,
I think
2004?
I think it was 01.
That's what I'm saying. It's been 2 decades.
It was the game they moved because of 9/11 to the last game of the regular season because they had to cancel all sports on 9/11 went week 3, moved it to the back of the end of the season. Winner went to the SEC title game. It's a winner take all. Yeah. Where we all used to remember it used to be. I'm looking it up now, Bear. I'm on the records.
I think it was 2002 or 2001.
Yeah, I think it's one because they won the East that year. Yeah. 2021. Sorry, I was looking there. Yeah, won 34-32 in Gainesville.
Exactly. So I'm sorry.
No, last time 03.
Oh, so 03 was the last time they won it, right?
Yeah, won in Gainesville. So they've won. Dude, people always talk about the Florida one though too. Alabama, the last time they won was 03 in Tuscaloosa.
So I'm sorry. In my opinion, you got to win one of them. I think Alabama is one of the more complete teams in the SEC. Florida, you can catch slipping. Their offensive line is struggling. What happens if nothing happens with DJ Lagway? What happens if there is an issue with the secondary still? You could take advantage of that, but you got to win one of them. I don't see you winning in Tuscaloosa. I can see you winning in Gainesville. I do think of that as a possibility. So I think you got to win that game. So I go Arkansas, I go Vanderbilt, and I go Florida. Ceiling for this team.
I think the defense will be solid. I mean, let's just say Joey Aguilar's better than what I'm expecting him to be, and the run game's fine, and maybe the offensive line could be a little. I mean, the run game wouldn't be a total. I mean, if the run game's there, obviously the offensive line is a total liability. Let's say some receivers don't step up and it's average. I think 10-2. If all things go well, they get some injury health, and I say a lot of that because I have confidence in the defense, and I think the schedule is very manageable, very, very manageable. That's if everything's hitting. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's very unrealistic. But I do think 10-2 for this team is mainly because of schedule and a solid defense. I think 10-2 is on the schedule. I mean, on the radar.
Ceiling's 10-2. Them and Missouri are very similar to me to where their rosters may not be good enough to win a national title, but they are good enough to get double-digit wins, punch their ticket to the playoff, and maybe go on. Maybe depending on the matchup, win that game. That's where I'm at with those two teams. Just because the way the schedule is.
Floor here for you. I want to ask you this question too, and I'm glad they laid the graphic out like this. Is this would you be shocked on a level of 1 through 10, 1 being you're not shocked at all, 10 being it's the biggest thing you've ever seen, most surprising thing you've ever seen? If Tennessee was 4-2 after these first 6 games, how surprised are you?
4-2 after the first 6 games?
Yep, after going into after the Arkansas game, they're 4-2.
I'd be at a 7.
I'd be pretty surprised too. I'm with you. You see where the 1 could be, Georgia. What's your next one, Bear? Arkansas or Syracuse?
I would say Syracuse.
Yeah,
I don't see. If anything, I see Mississippi State. Depending on how much that offense with Fluff Bothwell and Davin Booth, maybe that ends up being something. It's on the road. I don't.
The offensive line move Tennessee's front enough to score. That's my only.
I don't see. It's not Arkansas.
It's so undersized up front. I don't know. I'm with you though. It's a road game. But I asked you that question 4-2. It's definitely. I mean, to me, you talked about it. It's a very manageable schedule.
Floor though.
Floor. All right, Bear. Here's a question for you for them to reach their floor. All right, here's a question for you. Do you see a world where they're 5-1 after their first 6, but reach their floor?
No, because I think their floor is 5-7. I don't see them losing out. That's the only reason.
You think their floor is 5-7?
If everything goes wrong.
Damn, you're lower on them than I am. I was probably going to go 6-6.
Their floor for me is Joey Aguilar isn't the answer. Their other quarterbacks are not prepared. Their run game is solid, but it's not solid enough.
The offensive line's non-existent.
You still have questions with the transfers that you bring on in. The loss of Mays at center is too great for you to overcome. I see 5-7 as their floor.
Why, Bear? I mean, so you think? So I mean, I can kind of sense it. You didn't set it, but you could see that Mississippi State game being a potential upset if things are going
100%.
bad.
I could if everything is as advertised and
your first true road game. Yeah.
Syracuse, to me, I don't think you lose. I could see Mississippi State being a trap. I could see Florida. I could see loss. Alabama, I could see loss. Oklahoma, they're better than advertised offensively. They're still going to be great defensively. I could see that being a loss. I don't think Vanderbilt's a loss, but what if just consistency defensively, you're able to put pressure on Joey Aguilar, whoever is your quarterback. Arkansas, again, like there are
Is
7
anyone's top 4 hardest games more defined than Tennessee's? Like, I don't even think it's a conversation. It's Georgia, Florida, Oklahoma, and Alabama. I don't really think it's like, I was just looking at half their level. It's like, geez, like after that, it's a pretty big drop off potentially.
It's a big drop off. Arkansas is interesting because of Taylor Green. I love watching him play.
I just don't trust what's around him.
That's my thing, is that if you just told me Taylor Green went into Knoxville and beat their ass, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think the offensive line's going to be. Yeah, I mean, you are the same with Arkansas. I think their offensive line's going to be worse. I know they brought in Kittler, brought in Corey Robinson. I don't think they have a weapon on the outside. Certainly not Andrew Armstrong or Tesla.
They don't have an Andrew Armstrong or a Luke Haas anymore. What they do have is they have an Omega Blake who's going to have to win every single one of his one-on-one battles as a vertical threat.
And he's an 2 or 3 receiver at this level at best.
And I mean, you would have to hope that Courtney Crutchfield is better than advertised also. Or whoever you bring in as this upcoming class. Like, you have a freshman that is just so well equipped to run Bobby's system. I think so. But I also don't think that this is going to be that bad of a schedule. I think they're going to be more so a 9-3 team, personally, because I'm also higher on Joey Aguilar. Like, I personally do believe that Aguilar is going to be a good fit.
Tennessee streams 8-4, 9-3. Bear, all right, here on my scale level, I just asked you, are you really surprised if Tennessee makes the playoffs this year?
No, because of their schedule. Because of their schedule. And also because of I'm very high on what they have in the run game. I think Mike Matthews is going to be the breakout player that I envisioned when he was coming out of high school in Georgia. I think their defense is still going to be one of the better defenses in the SEC. Not elite, but one of the better ones. And I think they're going to get one upset win. So either the Georgia game or the Florida game or the Alabama game. I don't have them in the playoff, but I wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoff.
How wouldn't it be as crazy as college football is the year Tennessee finally goes and wins a big road game, either in Tuscaloosa or Gainesville this year is the year their quarterback left after spring practice and are breaking in a new quarterback. That is just how wild it would be. That's
the thing, is that, like, I truly think that Josh Heupel is one of these madmen who's going to be able to get one of these signature wins in conference play on the road, but he may drop a game that he shouldn't. And we saw this last year. They lose on the road at Arkansas, but they beat Alabama. Like, in no world should those words be true. They should be beating the crap out of Arkansas and losing to Bama by 7. But they didn't. So this is one of those years where Joey Aguilar, depending on how he fits, depending on how well these wide receivers are all built, a lot of these guys are going into their second year with this system. So I feel like that somebody is going to be that dude to elevate this team, offensively at least.
No, I agree.
All right. That's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. There will not be a show this Thursday. And the reason why is because I'm going on vacation. Dave just got back from vacation. So we will reconvene next Monday night. We'll do another schedule. Texas A&M is on the horizon, so we got to talk about what they provide. We got some more content coming your ways. We got some storylines that we got to break down. Remember to go check out our friends over at FANDUEL.com. FANDUEL.com/SECU. Sign up. Use the promo code SECU. You win $250 with bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Make sure that you follow Dave at Dave Shumate SEC. Make sure you follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson. Check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. Enjoy your Monday night. Enjoy the start to your week. As I say on Thursday nights, enjoy your weekend. We'll catch back up on Monday. And remember, you only live life once. You might as well live it to the fullest. Bye.